It is happening again. It is happening again.
You know the music before you know the story. A low, dreamy hum, the kind that makes you sit up before anything's happened on screen. Twin Peaks opens like a postcard, a sawmill, a waterfall, a town sign promising population and prosperity. And then a body washes up on the riverbank, wrapped in plastic. That's the trick of it. Everyone here is polite. Everyone has a secret. FBI agent Dale Cooper arrives to investigate the murder of Laura Palmer, homecoming queen. And within an episode, you realize the case is a door, not a destination. Behind it is a town full of double lives, a donut shop full of gossip, and eventually, a red room where the rules of physics take a coffee break. David Lynch and Mark Frost built something that looks like a soap opera and behaves like a fever dream, and somehow holds both without breaking. You're not just watching a mystery, you're being asked to live inside one. Twin Peaks never apologizes for the music. Every glance between Donna and James gets a full orchestral swell. Every diner scene plays like a slow dance, and the show leans into it until the romance starts to feel theatrical, almost staged. That's deliberate. Lynch wanted the soap opera dialed past sincerity into something stranger, where the swelling strings aren't selling you an emotion so much as setting a trap door under it. The sweetness is real. So is what's underneath it.
Er vi maner i aften?
Det uhyggeligt.
This is The Kingdom, Rigget in the original Danish. Lars von Trier's 1994 miniseries set inside Copenhagen's most advanced hospital. Von Trier has said outright that he watched Twin Peaks and was thrilled by it, and you can feel that debt in every frame. The institutional setting standing in for the small town, the staff swapping affairs and grudges like a soap opera that's forgotten it's supposed to be background noise. A ghost ambulance arrives and unloads no one. A surgeon hides a stolen liver inside his own body. None of it slows down the romantic entanglements playing out in the break room. Von Trier pushes the music and the melodrama even further than Lynch did, louder, funnier, more openly absurd, until horror and soap opera stop being separate genres and start being the same joke told twice. It's scarier than it has any right to be, and funnier than horror usually allows itself to be. Twin Peaks doesn't just borrow the look of a postcard town, it builds the whole show around the gap between that look and what's actually happening behind closed doors. The Packard sawmill keeps running. The high school keeps electing homecoming queens. Meanwhile, half the adults in town are running affairs, drug operations, or worse, and nobody in the diner seems to notice. The prettier the surface, the more it's hiding.
I'm with the Secret Service. Where am I?
You're in Wayward Pines, Idaho.
Wayward Pines does almost exactly this, on purpose. Secret Service agent Ethan Burke wakes up in a town that looks plucked from a 1950s postcard. Manicured lawns, friendly neighbors, a diner that never closes, and immediately something feels wrong. He can't leave. Phone calls don't connect outside town limits. The deeper he digs, the more the cheerful surface starts cracking, until the show reveals the entire town is a controlled experiment, walled in to survive something far worse on the other side of the fence. It's a blunter premise than Twin Peaks. It wears its inspiration openly, but the engine is the same. An outsider arrives, the town smiles too hard, and every answer makes the smile look more like a mask. The facade isn't incidental here, it's the entire plot. The The mystery in Twin Peaks never just happens to Agent Cooper, it happens to you. Dream sequences hand you symbols before the plot explains them. Background details, a ring, a piece of corn, a name muttered once, pay off episodes later if you were paying attention. The show trusts you to hold loose threads in your head and start connecting them before anyone on screen does. You're not following the investigation, you're running it. Return to the Obra Dinn puts that idea directly in your hands. You're an insurance investigator boarding a ship that returned to port with its 60-person crew dead or missing, armed with nothing but a magic pocket watch that replays the final moment of each death. The game never tells you who anyone is. You listen to accents, read uniforms, track who's standing near who, and piece together 60 separate identities and causes of death using nothing but observation and memory. There's no hint system bailing you out, and the game only confirms your answers 3 at a time. A single wrong guess can hide undetected between 2 correct ones. Lucas Pope built a mystery that only exists because you're willing to do the work. Get sloppy, and the ship simply keeps its secrets. Eventually, the investigation stops behaving like one. Cooper starts receiving messages from a dancing figure in a red curtain room that may or may not exist. A giant delivers riddles. An owl is somehow never just an owl. The show doesn't explain any of it, and it doesn't apologize for that either. Twin Peaks treats dream logic as a legitimate source of evidence, as valid as fingerprints, and asks you to follow along without a map.
Here's something odd. There is a cat hovering in the men's bathroom at the radio station here. He seems perfectly happy and healthy, but it's floating about 4 feet off the ground next to the sink.
Welcome to Night Vale runs on the same logic, just dialed up to full civic acceptance. It's a podcast styled as community radio for a small desert town where hooded figures patrol the dog park, a 5-headed dragon serves on the school board, and the sheriff's secret police are just part of local government. Nothing supernatural is ever treated as unusual. It's filed alongside weather and traffic. Host Cecil delivers it all in the same warm, measured tone, whether he's reading PTA announcements or reporting that the moon has been replaced. That deadpan calm is the joke and the unease at the same time. Once a town stops reacting to the impossible starts to feel like the only honest description of how the world actually works. It's the Black Lodge's logic without the violence, reality bending, and nobody bothering to ask why. Strip away the murder and the Red Room, and Twin Peaks is still, stubbornly, a show about a town full of people. A log-carrying widow who claims her log has things to say, a sheriff who takes meditation seriously, a one-armed shoe salesman with a secret. None of them solve the mystery. All of them make the town feel like somewhere people actually live, with private griefs running parallel to the main one.
That in the beginning, when the world was young, there were a great many thoughts, but no such thing as a truth. Man made the truths himself, and each truth was a composite of a great many vague thoughts. All about in the world were the truths, and they were all beautiful.
Winesburg, Ohio does this without any mystery driving it at all. Sherwood Anderson's 1919 story cycle moves through a small Midwestern town, one resident at a time. A doctor hoarding scraps of paper covered in handwriting no one will ever read. A woman aging alone in a house everyone stopped visiting. A young reporter absorbing each private confession like he's collecting them. Anderson called these people grotesques, warped slightly by a single truth they've clung to too hard. No case file connects them, no agent investigates. The book simply insists that every minor character carries a story heavy enough to be the main one. The same instinct that gives Twin Peaks its log lady and its one-armed man instead of just its homecoming queen. The town is the subject. The plot is just where you happen to be standing. Twin Peaks never really explains itself, and 3 decades later, people are still arguing about what it meant, which might be the entire point.
If any of these 5 sent a chill up your spine, you already know what to do. Drop a comment with your own pick, hit like if Agent Cooper would approve, and subscribe for the next one.